Okay. So again, good evening and Nadim Simcha. Um, Tonight is Level Hoshana Rabba. We are going to Mitzvah Shem have a short share tonight because there's quite a lot to do. So tonight, Mitzvah Shem, being the fact that most people, I guess, are in shuls, in Mishnah Torah, whatever it is. So this year is dedicated to the refuah of Avram David ben Chana. Bobby Rosenberg and Hashem should be healthy. Well, everybody in Israel, Hashem. All right. So, what we're talking about tonight is Hoshana Rabba. Everything which has to do with Kedusha, the end is always tucked into the beginning. The beginning is always tucked into the end. The Torah in the beginning is, the Bereshis, Lanei Kol Yisrael, so the always, it's a Tzaddikim always say Torah is the time altogether. At the end of every process, we actually meet the beginning of this process. What I'm bringing in tonight basically is based on an article that was written by David Wirtzman a year ago, which is a pretty good summation of the Avodah of tonight, which is what I would like to concentrate on. In the beginning of Tishrei actually we meet the whole cycle, whole process. It begins in Rosh Hashanah, it ends in Hoshana Rabba and Shmini Atzeres. The very end, before Shmini Atzeres, we meet now the beginning, the thing that we met in the beginning, which was the union of the din. Rosh Hashanah is Yom Adin, now Hoshana Rabba is Yom Adin. In Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, we are in an atmosphere of Yomei Din. We're busy with davening and tshuva and what it is that we need to keep on doing. The same basically is happening in Hoshana Rabba. Just give me a sec. We're doing, with Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, with davening, with tshuva. Here comes Sukkot. We're entering into a world of happiness and being extremely happy. And suddenly, at the end of the Yom Tov, again we meet the same concept of Yom Adin. And the image of Hoshana Rabba, which is one of the days of the Chag, but it also has in it, strangely enough, an element of Yom Adin. It's a very special. The davening is different than regular Chol HaMoed. We're doing the same davening as Yom Tov, even though it's not a Yom Tov. Hoshana Rabba is the time of sealing. That's the time when everything is sealed. And this is when Rosh Hashanah, this is when the sentence being written. But it's not. It's signed in a very initial signature, as it were. But it's still not the final seal. The final seal is Hoshana Rabba. Hoshana Rabba, in a certain way, gives us a last chance. It's the moment before they give the kvitla, the papers with the verdict, as it were, the notes with the verdict. It's still not given out to be put into actuality. It doesn't affect itself into actuality first. In fact, it's in a very, very elusive point, which is the point where, as we said sometime before, I don't know if you remember, we spoke about the fact that you have things are possible, and then they they sort of congeal into uh, um, a probable, and then it congeal further into inevitable. And before they actually become a reality, there's one elusive state in between them, which we can call imminent. Each one of these conditions is an actual reality. For anything to ever become a fact, it must be a possibility. It must exist as a possibility. Anything which is not possible is not going to happen. Uh, so each one you get in the process of concretization, as it were. In the very last moment, it's what is imminence. Imminent, it's autoto. It's coming. This is from inevitable. Before it becomes inevitable, it goes through the process of Hoshana Rabba. The process of Hoshana Rabba is one where you still get a chance to change it. So we are awakened again to tefillah, to tshuva, to change the last moment, whatever it is that needs to be changed or taken. Obviously, it's a great chance for anybody who feels that he wasn't zeicha to a proper Rosh Hashanah. Maybe he feels, I wasn't at my best in Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur or whatever it is. Now there's a chance to do it again without the pressure of blowing the shofar, that you think that you have to be yaitza and this and that, but calm and serene in Yishuv Das, a simchas chag. Now you can actually uh, um, 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 turn everything over. It says in the words of Arizal, it is said that even somebody that saw that something was decreed upon him, it can still change. The main avodah of Hoshana Rabbah, which is the reason why we sort of like cutting the shiur short tonight, is in the first half of the night. Then we say Mishnah Torah, and then we say Tehillim. That's the time where the Kvitlah are being given over to the messengers. But it's still changeable until the very end of Shmini Atzeres. There's a chance, says the Kodesh Baruch Hu, as we said in the Kippur, the Kodesh Baruch Hu is the only one who can shoot an arrow and take it back even after it's already hit. It means we can still change until Shmini Atzeres. It's an unbelievably holy day, Hoshana Rabbah, for the spiritual work that is being done. There's something which is in a sense even higher than Yom Kippur. This is the time of the year that the year actually is formed. It gets its final form. It's the final seal. How it's going to be physically, emotionally. You have to excuse me just a second. I'm sorry. Leave your phone here. Just one second. You have to excuse me. I'm just saying now. Just like a work technical difficulties. Anyhow. So we said this is where the year is being congealed to find out how it's going to actually look, how we're going to feel in it. Every single thing in creation is a full stature. Has a head, has a body, has legs, has hands, everything. The year also has a body and hands and legs, and our wish is to get a full, complete, healthy year with a healthy head and healthy legs and everything. All this is being accomplished in the month of Tishrei. From the beginning of Rosh Hashanah, which is the head, until Shmini Atzeres, this is where we finish all the stature. then we actually accomplishing an immense unification, tremendous yichud. All this is happening in great summary, in very concentrated in Hoshana Rabba. Tzaddikim spoke, waxed poetically about the immense kedusha of this day. Besamidis already made a huge deal about it. They were surrounding the Mizbeach with their ravas, and we're doing also today. It's an ancient minhag. It's called minhag and neviim, that we go around the bima with the lulav, and afterwards we hit the arava. There's tremendous secrets and tremendous ramifications for all the avodah, the outside avodah and the inner avodah of a person throughout the year. The Oshpizin of Hoshana Rabba, which is also the seventh day of Sukkot, is of course David HaMelech. There's an inseparable connection between all the essence of the avodah of Hoshana Rabba, between him and the avodah of Hoshana Rabba. We know a few things about David HaMelech. We know he was obviously Melech Yisrael. He is also the fourth leg of the chariot, of the throne, as it were. He also put together the Sefer Tehillim. Tehillim is a really magnificent sefer. It's a full sefer that is comprised of tefillos and songs, which is comprised of 5 books, which correspond to Chamisha Chumshe Torah. This is the secret and the foundation of a great thing that Rabbeinu said is the highest thing of all in Avodas Hashem, is to do from Torah to do tefillos, to make prayers out of that which we learn. This Rabbeinu says in Likutei Maran, in Torah Chafei, and Nosson says Likutei Alochos, and Rosh Chodesh. We'll touch it just a bit. The main yearning of every Yid is the Torah. Everyone wants to learn Torah and to keep it, but the Torah there's no end to it. There's no end to it. I mean, it's wider than the sea. Every single person who really wants to keep the Torah knows that he will never be able to actually say that he got to it. He's always searching on the way to it. Every time that the person does anything, any advancement in Torah, he finds another depth and another depth and another depth of more ways, more that he has to advance in order to make it, but not just. Even the simple keeping of the Torah. Everybody wants to put Torah into his life. Anybody who does that knows that it's not simple at all. Life is so complex. The tests are so immense in dealing with things and working with it. These are things that are surrounding us from every single side. Very often it looks like we don't have a chance. We don't stand a chance that this can happen. We can never really do it properly. That's the way it seems. So sometimes it seems as if the Torah comes to actually confuse us, like to wrap us up in webs. It's like, I want one thing, the Torah wants something else. And the Torah, so it can see in Chas v'Chalil that all the Torah does is just show me how inadequate I am. How wrong I am all the time. For this, you need an answer. You need an advice for that. The Torah itself is called as advice. It says, "Li eitza litushir." The mitzvahs themselves are called eitzes, are called advice. Zohar says, it says 613 advice. But these advice themselves need advice how to keep them. When a person actually comes to the real question, how do I get Torah into my life? He'll see that the most fundamental thing that he needs is advice, his eitzes. when you have this thing, when you have this product, which is advice, and how do you keep it? You consider the Torah itself as an advice, and it saves the person, it delivers him, it teaches him how to live right, how to live his life right. The eitzah of all eitzahs is tefillah. At the end, every single advice that you get, any technique that you get, you can go to therapists, you can go to advisors, you can go to consultants, you can go to whoever it is you go to. At the end, every advice requires another advice in order to be able to get to it. And it's endless. The thing that really stops the wheel, that really stops the bug, that can really bring a person to all the advice that he needs and all the results he needs is tefillah. That's why when Rav Nosson heard Rabbeinu say, the eight of his Vedas, he felt, that's it. I got the solution for everything. Because he can daven for everything. This is what David HaMelech did. He took the Chumash and he composed a full sefer of tefillahs, with which you can get to the Mekayim Torah. Sefer Amidas is telling us, Sefer Tehillim is telling us, there's a complete Torah, but I want to keep it. What can I do? I'm so far from keeping it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to daven on it. I'm going to pray for it. That's the main message of David HaMelech, except for the fact that he was learning Torah all the time. He gave a lot of eitzes. He gave a lot of eitzes. Allah is like David HaMelech. He gave us the central eitzah. Everything that you learn, sit down immediately and do a tefillah from it. Then until you will come to be able to mekayem everything that you learn, may take some time. And who knows if you'll ever be able to do that. But the thing that you can actually do immediately is pray to be able to mekayem what you did. Especially in very concrete things that the person really doesn't know how to do. He knows that it's true. He knows that it's emes, but he has no idea how can I do it. How can I guard my eyes? How can I, stop being angry? All these things. He doesn't know how to reach, how to sort of like shorten the distance between him and the real thing, like Havas Hashem, like Dveikus, or getting rid of bad midas. What do? The eitzah for it is you daven for it. By the eitzah, you're actually doing it. Obviously, some stuff you'll get to the actual doing, but with the davening, you are already doing it. Rav Nosson explains that David HaMelech solved a universal historic problem, because there is a huge argument between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Am Yisrael. Baruch Hu says, "Shuvu alai v'shuv aleichem." Return to me, and I'll return to you. In other words, you do the first step, and I will come in and help you. And we are saying, "Hashiveinu Hashem alecha v'nashuva." In other words, you do the first step for us, and then we will cooperate. It's an endless loop, and supposedly is something that can never be solved. But according to this yesod that we just brought down, the solution is pretty clear. Baruch Hu wants us to do the first step. We say, listen, we're not capable of doing it. Well, there is a solution. We take these words, Ashiveinu Hashem Alecha, and from turning into a claim, like you say, we claim, you return us to you, and then we'll come back, turning from a claim and from a rebuttal, as it were, you turn it into tefillah. Ashiveinu Hashem Alecha v'nashuva. With this, we did the first step that Hashem Yisrael expects us to do. Immediately, because Baruch Hu gets into this and is helping us. This is the eitzah for every single thing that the person feels that he's stuck in. Make it feel out of it. The minute that you made it feel out of it, you started to move. The continuation will come by itself. This is the Eitzah. This is the main Eitzah for the night of Hoshana Rabba. We're given a new chance to make up and to format a new year. And all we need to do is to use the derech of David HaMelech. We tried with the shofar. We tried with fasting. We tried with slichus. We tried with all kinds of things. Now we don't need anything. All we need is just dibur. We just need to speak. It's enough one moment of truth, without thoughts of I can't do it, or without bilbulim in the muna. Am I being heard? Am I not being heard? And then are they going to give me what I'm asking for? They're not going to give me the answer. Just like every simple Jew believes. One straight, simple dibur, straight to Kodesh Baruch Hu, and change everything. That's the inner secret of Hoshana Rabba. Hoshana Rabba is a time of sealing. That's as it were. When you want to keep something, you have to seal it. And if it's something that is really, really valuable, it's really sensitive, you have to double seal it. You need an outside seal to guard the inner seal and whatever it is that's inside. Same thing is about the Kedusha. We have to, to guard our Kedusha, we need two seals. We need one seal to guard the Kedusha, and we need a second seal that would keep the first seal. The first seal is called the seal of the legs, and the second thing is called the seal of the hands. The first seal is being stamped in Yom Kippur. That's why we always say Chosmeinu, seal us. This chosim is also called bris, but that chosim needs an extra shmir. This is what we do tonight in the Hoshana Rabba. This chosim, this seal is called emunah. The first chosim is the connection. That's the covenant of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The second seal says that we believe in it. Every Jew gets in Tishrei the seal that he is tied to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The question now is how much he actually believes in it. Yom Kippur, everybody comes to shul. But the fact is, every Jew has a connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it wakes up on Yom Kippur. But if this particular connection remains exposed without the emunah, it will not last. This is what you need Hoshana Rabba in order to seal that covenant. With the seal of emunah, we have in the Shema, we have Shabbos, we have a lot of treasures, but they all need shmira. The shmir is emunah. It can be a very, very important historic document or check with an immense amount, but if it's unsealed, it's not worth a penny. That little seal on the bottom makes it an immensely valuable document. We are getting immensely important and exalted documents. The only thing we need is just a signature, the seal of the end. Yom Kippur, HaKadosh Baruch Hu signs it, seals it. Hoshana, they're asking for our signature, for our seal, for our John Hancock. The year is already closed. With all the good is in it, the question is, are you going to be part of the story? Until now, you celebrated everything. You blew the shofar, you fastened Yom Kippur, you shuckled the lulav, you danced in Shabbat Shaiva. Now it's time to sit by the table and to finalize the most important thing. Do you believe in it? If you believe, that's it, it's sealed, it's yours, nobody can touch it. Something that is sealed, even if there will be times that you won't feel your kedusha. You'll forget the good things that you did. It'll never be lost from you. This because it is sealed. It remains you forever. That's why it's so important to do the stop and to make sure I believe in all of this. So it remains mine in any condition, at all times. This is why in Hoshana Rabba, all we do is say. We we say things without a lot of das, without understanding. Mishnah Torah, Tila, Moshanas, and with the rabbis that don't have no taste and no smell. Why? Because that builds our emunah. The what that we belong to that story. It doesn't depend on a condition. It doesn't depend on a field. When the emunah is steadfast, when it's standing on its the way it's supposed to be, then we can advance and we continue to Simchas Torah. Then we do everything with the time, with taste, with understanding, with chayas, and with tremendous simcha. Be'ez Hashem, I want to wish all of you a good kvittel. That Hashem, we will finish here, so we can each get into the same part of the night, which is so important. And Bezrat Hashem, we all will be sealed to a great life, great year, and tremendous happiness and health, body and spirit for us and for our families. And Bezrat Hashem, we'll all see each other, Mitzvah Hashem, on Mitzvah Shabbos, when we learn Sichas Haran, and as it were, get ready to return to the year.